Hi everyone, I'm Jan and welcome back to the Untangled Journal. Today we're looking at prophecy number 22 in our 365 Prophecies of Jesus series. And our prophecy comes from Daniel 9, verse 24 to 27, where Daniel gives an amazing prophecy about the coming Messiah who would make atonement for sin and be cut off before the destruction of the second temple. Now, in Daniel 9, it can sound complicated because it talks about 77s, but the heart of the prophecy is simple. God was pointing ahead to the Messiah. Daniel was living in exile long before Jesus was born, and Jerusalem had been conquered. And while Daniel prayed about the future of his people, God sent an angel with a message about what was still to come. The prophecy speaks about 70 groups of 7. Many Bible scholars understand these as groups of 7 years. So when Daniel mentions 7 sevens or 62 sevens, that gives us 69 sevens or 483 years. In simple terms, this was a prophetic countdown and it leads us straight to Jesus. Daniel says that after this countdown, the anointed one would be cut off. That means he would be put to death. Yet through his sacrifice, God would deal with sin and make atonement for wrongdoing. Then when we come to the New Testament, we see Jesus fulfilling this prophecy perfectly. In Hebrews 9:26, Christ appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. Jesus also warned that Jerusalem and the temple would be judged. And in Luke 19, he wept over the city. In Matthew 24, he said the temple would be torn down completely. And in AD 70, the Romans destroyed Jerusalem and the temple just as he warned. And that's exactly what we see. The Messiah comes, he is cut off, sin is dealt with, and afterwards Jerusalem and the temple are destroyed. And that's what makes this prophecy so powerful. Long before the cross, God had already revealed that the Messiah would come and give his life for sin. So for today's drawing, you'll need your journal or some paper to practice on. You will need your pencil, an eraser, your blending tool, and your micron pen or a fine liner. Today's drawing, I'll be drawing a broken temple column with AD 70 written above it. The broken column will remind us of the destruction Jesus warned about. And AD 70 helps us remember when it happened. The New Testament doesn't actually describe the destruction itself because it was written before AD 70, but the event is recorded in history, and you can read about it in Book 6 of the Jewish War by Flavius Josephus, where he details the final catastrophic stages of the Roman siege of Jerusalem in AD 70, focusing on the breach of the Antonia fortress, which was a citadel that protected the Second Temple, and the devastation and burning of the Second Temple, and the immense human cost under Roman General Titus. All right, so let's begin. We're going to start with the base of the temple column. So it's just, we're going to do a line. We're definitely going to need more space. I'm just going to turn this way. All right, let's start again. Okay, so we're going to draw a line. And that's the base of our column. Then we'll draw another line going up, another row and another row going up. Okay, then we will take a line going up and another line that goes up but finishes just a bit shorter than the other one. Then connect the two using a squiggle. And then we will use a line that sort of comes down to show cracks in the column. Okay, then on this side, we will do the same. So imagine this was one column, but it's fallen over now. So the other side will have a short line and a longer line. And then we will have the first layer, the second layer, and the third layer. And then you can connect these two with a rough broken chipped edge, and then we'll do the same bring a line in through here, bring a line in through here. And then on this column, we'll just write AD 70. All right, so that was our practice. Let's go and add that to our PDF. I'm going to make mine slightly bigger. So I'll start with the first layer here, then the second layer, and the third layer. And I'm going to take a line going up, another line, and connect these two roughly. Make some cracks in the column. Okay, then we will do the line, the bottom of the temple there, another line, and another line. This could actually come out a little bit more. Okay, then the top line will be shorter than the bottom line, and then we will add some cracks. I think I'm going to erase this and make it slightly thicker. That's what's good about pencil. Let's start again. It can come out a bit more. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and then add some cracks. And then we write AD 70 there. All right. So as I draw this, I think about Jesus standing before Jerusalem, knowing what was coming. And he wept because his people hadn't recognized the time of God's visitation. The temple and the sacrifices had always pointed forward to him. But once Jesus gave himself as the final sacrifice, then the old system came to an end. God's dwelling place no longer would be centered on a building, and his people would become his dwelling place. Okay. But even in judgment, we see the mercy of Jesus. He warns his followers to flee when they saw Jerusalem surrounded by armies, and God preserved those who belonged to him. And so let's allow this drawing to remind us of the heart of Jesus, how he wept over his people, fulfilled what the temple had pointed to, and then gave his life to make a way back to God. All right, let's go and erase all these pencil lines and go and add a bit of shading. So I'm going to add shading around the outside. And to the cracks as well. my blending tool. And there we have it. Thank you for joining me again today, and I will see you tomorrow for the next one. Bye for now.